What is going on, everybody? This is episode 128 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I'm here with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
What's up, crisis actors? My name's Mary.
That was completely different than the intro I thought you were about to give us.
I was not going to do Creepy Ghost Girl. Maybe
now I need you to do Creepy Ghost
time.
Girl. Please do Creepy Ghost Girl.
Hi, my name's Mary.
Hey, save it for the super chats, lady.
Yes, we will charge to get creepy ghost-faced Mary.
You want to see Ghostface Mary? Go ahead and give us a super chat.
It's like Ghostface Killer, but a lot
but
less.
so much better. I have to be
A
honest.
lot more threatening.
Did you just hear that? I just heard our guest host today. Oh, by the way, before I roast you on what you just said, introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Hannah Claire Brimla. I'm a writer for timcast.com.
And she's also somebody who just said that Mary's Ghostface impersonation was better than Ghostface Killer, and that's just
110%.
wrong.
Are you kidding me? Look at it. It's terrifying. It's hilarious. It's everything I'd want in a Ghostface impression.
I don't know if she's ever actually heard Ghostface.
Nope, I've never heard.
Yeah,
I don't even know who that is.
Okay, well that explains it.
That's
right
why I'm
there.
100% behind Mary's version of whatever's happening.
That's fine. I mean, you're wrong, but
Let's
that's
read
fine.
more rap lyrics.
Yes.
No, absolutely not. Oh my gosh, Dave always floats around. He'll be like, "Thank you for that excellent content." I'll be
Someone
like,
said Hannah Claire is Amber Heard. Oh my goodness, how could you say that?
feels like a threat.
That's yes. Now I'm gonna call you. We're gonna change your name to Amber on the screen next time.
Okay, stop trying to make that happen. Dave was the best one because it was so authentic.
Yeah.
Well, you're now Amber Heard, so I'm gonna call you AH from now on. That's what
Okay.
you're gonna be called. Okay with that?
That's not gonna last. You know it.
I know.
My name is complicated enough already.
when people call you Hannah, I'm just gonna correct them and say Hannah Claire.
I appreciate
Sorry
it.
about them.
It is interesting that I only say Hannah. I only make the Hannah mistake when I'm like in passing. I'm like, hey Hannah, and then I'm like, oh wait, it's not Hannah.
Banana.
I feel bad because I know it's like a long name and instinctively people want to go for it, but it does feel like an incorrect name
It's
to
literally
me.
3 syllables. It's not that hard.
You know, it's not that hard, but I understand if you're moving quickly. The way, like, if you had a friend who was Christopher, you might occasionally be like, hey, Chris, can you help me, right? Or like Joe or Joey, but like it feels incorrect to me. So I prefer the full double name.
It does now to me too, and now if I know anybody else named Hannah, I'm gonna have to ask them what their middle name is so I can figure that out. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. We got a very well, I guess it's not a surprising response, but a response from the producers of Peter 5.8, which is the new Kevin Spacey movie coming out, and I have some thoughts about that in relation to a new news report about Marilyn Manson in a case that was in the courts with him. We've got that. We've got our review for Top Gun Maverick, which is going to be the most rah-rah pro-America thing ever. I promise you that.
Let me ask you a question. Do we do spoilers when you guys do reviews?
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
I've never had the opportunity to do a review with you guys. And we did go see the movie last night. So I'm psyched to finally have my shot at this.
I don't actually know how to do a movie review without spoilers. It takes somebody...
It's a rule. We have to spoil it.
Yes, and it takes somebody far more artful and intelligent than I to do it without spoilers.
Not that much happened. It's Top Gun Maverick. Like, what's there to spoil?
It's exactly what you expect it to be in the best way possible. So we got that. We've got Johnny Depp and Amber Heard news, of course, because it's drawing to a close today. Mary's got some observations from the front lines, but for the full video of that, you'll have to check out the Cast Castle vlog tomorrow. But we are going to talk about it a little bit. Then we got Podluck. We got a bunch of other stuff. So if you ladies are ready, we can just get right into it. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So Kevin Spacey film producers defend working with the actor after new sexual assault charges. So I was actually wondering if they were going to make any type of statement about this, but I think they kind of had to. Like, if this was just the old charges against him, as awful as that is, I feel like they might have they might have been able to get away with just...
Which is insane because, like, when you consider that one of the older accusations was about a repeated grooming relationship with someone of the age of, like, what was
14,
it, 12?
It was 14.
One of them started at 12.
So
like, that's actually insane.
Yep. So I mean, if you're one of these producers and your money is tied up now in this project, all they can do is try to play damage control. But can you imagine being these people? He had 2 movies. I didn't know that thought he had just one. He has 2 movies that are that were at Cannes looking to be sold. But imagine being these producers who are like, we've got a lot of money put into this project, and then these new charges in the UK come out just as they're about
what
to...
What were you thinking?
That's the thing. It's not like these are new allegations. These allegations began, 4 4 or 5 years ago at this point.
But
These movies were created. The allegations came out. Nothing was totally settled. His reputation wasn't healed. They then continued to work with him.
Yep.
And now they're like, but we had a lot of money tied up in this.
Like, even if you don't, like okay,
Like,
so
just admit that you don't care that you're working with a bleep.
They selected him during that time.
Yes.
Right.
The interesting part to me is, like, even if you're in the realm of, like, look, here it's innocent until proven guilty. You need to give somebody the right to a fair and expedient trial. Sure, whatever. But in a world where there's like millions of actors, I'm looking at it specifically from like a business standpoint.
Yeah.
Is his name, where it's apparently less soiled in other countries, is it worth the financial investment to put your money behind somebody like that, when you could get any number of other actors and look for, maybe you get an unknown and look for a breakout performance. You get somebody who's going to, my guess is that they got him at a bargain rate, right?
Yeah.
Like that he's not,
I think that's
he's
what
not
it was.
charging Kevin Spacey money to do these roles.
I think that's what it was. I think part of it is, like any investment, they must have done some risk analysis and decided like they could either weather the storm, or they felt like he was a strong enough draw for audiences that they would come to the movie. And they, in doing so, gambled that whatever legal challenges he faced in the States would result favorably towards their press. And then obviously there's been more allegations since. So like, I don't have a ton of sympathy for them if they feel like this is like unfair to their production. At the same time, like, I can understand that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I can understand that they I lost my train of thought. Man, that's so distracting.
That's the best part now. Yes.
I think
we are going to train everybody here to not lose their train of thought when a bunch of money comes flying at your head.
Well, all I was going to say was just like, I don't really like, I think it's a business decision, and basically like it was a poor business decision. I think they could have gotten someone else, some B-list celebrity, someone who was maybe not, it's the same thing. Like if you pick an actor who's not well known, you make this gamble all the time that they're not going to have anything negative come out, that their other projects are going to be popular and therefore benefit your movie. And I think it was just like, I can't believe he had 2 movies out
both
right now.
of them that
seems like a
be,
weird calculation.
Both of them seeming to be for foreign markets, as we discussed yesterday, where they're
Don't the plots have strange correlations with his actual life?
One of them did, for sure.
One of
totally
them was
like
he was a background character in one of them, but it was like about someone wrongfully accused.
Yeah,
of
that was
abusing
the other
children.
one.
It's like
but
odd.
yeah, so it says. So I'm just going to go through their quotes here. It says, well, it's an quote, well, it's unfortunate that the increased negative press is timed with Kevin's returning to work. It's also expected, the producer said in a statement received by The Hollywood Reporter. There are those who wish for him not to act, but they are outnumbered by fans worldwide who await an artist they have enjoyed for decades returning to the screen, the statement continued. So if they're saying that, and it's not BS, they must have some type of analytics that tell them that people in other countries are less squeamish about what he's done, or maybe
that
the news just
never really made it over there. That's probably more likely.
So they must have a certain amount of data that backs up that concept. I watched the trailer for Peter 5'8", and it's really weird because it's like he's totally like aggressing. He's like an aggressor. He's like a hitman or something like that. You see him with a sniper rifle and everything like that. Mm-hmm. And all his interactions are kind of like very menacing and violent. And it's
that
really
weirdly correlates with his real life too.
Yeah, like I thought that was interesting. It says the new film marks a return for Spacey, who was effectively canceled from his acting career after facing allegations from several individuals, including Star Trek Discovery star Anthony Rapp. We talked about that yesterday. But they also, I like how they point this out here. They say Spacey also came out as gay for the first time. The case remains ongoing. Remember when he was like,
I decided to live my life as a gay man.
Like,
look over there.
That was the exact quote on the tweet.
That's exactly what it was.
Upon reflection, I've decided to live my life as a gay man.
So it says now Spacey is facing 4 criminal charges. I just lost my train of thought there. Is facing 4 criminal charges.
You can't lose your train of thought if there's no money gun.
4 new counts.
There's 4 new counts of sexual assault involving 3 different men between 2005 and 2013 in the United Kingdom. The charges have come after a police investigation, and there it says we talked about Rosemary Ainsley. She's the head of the CPS out there. Said the Crown prosecution reminds all concerned that criminal proceedings against Mr. Depp are active and that he has a right to a fair trial. Fine. But it says
You said Mr. Depp. Do you mean Spacey?
Did I say Mr. Depp? Mr. Spacey. Well, Mr. Depp has a right to a fair trial
We'll
as
get
well.
there later, Brett.
We will, yes. The producers of Peter 5.8 echoed those sentiments in their statement, noting the production has no knowledge or comment on the various swirling allegations and believe it's a matter for the courts to determine validity if it exists. Like, that is a very, very business-like tone for people that are going to have to deal with a whole lot of pushback.
It's like this weird game where I know. So, like, if somehow Kevin Spacey gets cleared of all these charges and allegations, they will have gotten him at a low cost and possibly make a lot of money off of people being like, oh, we were anti Kevin Spacey, but it turns out he's okay, so now we can watch his movies. Like, they'll have worked with him in a time when he was, arguably probably affordable to them. Again, that is a weird, it's just a gamble that I don't think I would be willing to take with my exactly zero experience in the film industry.
Yes. It says they concluded with their statement by emphasizing that Peter 5.8 is a film for fans who care more about the art than the scandal. It's
above scandal.
Yeah,
they're above
you
child
see,
molestation.
Like, how disillusioned I am.
I don't know how I feel about all of it. Like, I was watching the because, like I said, I can't prove that he did or didn't do these things, but I'm looking at what I think about it, and I'm imagining being the people working in this movie with them, and they're just like what was he hired first? Did they come and they're like, by the way, you're going to work with Kevin Spacey, and they're like, crap, I signed my contract already. Like,
do you think that?
I don't know.
That would happen. That's
it would
crazy.
be fascinating to find out the hiring process behind these movies. Like, did they sign on knowing that Kevin Spacey was going to be in the movie? Or did Kevin Spacey get sprung on them first day of, like, screen testing? They're like, by the way, here's the guy you're going to be working opposite. And, like, Kevin Spacey walks in the room. And
they all hired Kevin Spacey and then started writing a movie around him.
That's
yeah,
even
the
scarier.
first time that we talked about this, I thought that they were going to be like, it's being produced by Kevin Spacey's production company. Like, I kind of assumed he could cast himself in a movie that he had written for himself.
He's got lots of, like, civil suits against him right now, which is, like, the number one question I had when all this stuff started coming out, I was like, why would he want to work? Like, what? I mean, I have a really
An addiction to attention.
I kind of, like, have, like, a fascination.
Like, does he have anything else in his life?
I have a fascination with these types of things, with people who get in the public eye, then get their lives kind of shattered by the accusations, whether innocent or guilty. Whether he is or isn't, that is irrelevant to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, like, the people who have this happen to them, but then continue to work in the public eye. There's got to be, like, for the people who have enough money and don't need to but choose to, I wonder if that is kind of like the human, there's just that human inclination that you kind of have to have a purpose, and you can't wallow forever. Now, we're not saying whether they're guilty or innocent. I'm just saying that need to be productive and do things persists.
Yeah.
But it's like, how is your purpose just attaining attention for yourself no matter the cost?
Yeah,
That's
he could be doing
purpose to live.
With his money, he could be doing any number of things behind the scenes that would still give him,
or not related to acting. He could invest in whatever in the world he wants to.
But why does it have to be?
But I think that that's like a personality trait. Like, if he has like
self-aggrandizing,
a insatiable need for affirmation and attention through exterior sources, like
Johnny Depp.
Ouch! We'll get to that. Like you said earlier, we will get to that.
The other part is, like, he has repeatedly tried to stage his comeback. Do you remember when he released those videos that was sort of Frank Underwood in tone?
Yeah,
on
at the
YouTube?
fireplace.
Yeah.
Like, he was never.
Yep.
He was never willing to relinquish acting.
And that's just like bold-faced provocation. Like, that video in particular, he knew exactly how that would be received.
Yep. And then did you see this stuff about Marilyn Manson dismissed a suit? A judge dismissed a suit against Marilyn Manson. I almost made it sound like Marilyn Manson was the judge.
He himself dismissed the suit.
That would be his, like, comeback tour. Like, he goes to law school and then becomes a judge in his old age. It says a judge has dismissed a case for Marilyn Manson's former assistant who accused the embattled musician of sexual assault, battery, and harassment. In an order of dismissal obtained by USA Today, Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Michael L. Stern on Wednesday dismissed Ashley Walters' entire action against the musician, which alleged that Manson, whose real name is Brian Warner, used his position of power, celebrity, and connections to exploit and victimize her during her employment from August of 2010 to October of 2011. In the dismissal, Stern dismissed the case with prejudice, which means that Walters will not be able to file the same claims in the Los Angeles Superior Court again. Stern said that Walters had too few facts and pleaded too late, according to reports from CBS and Deadline. We are deeply disappointed in the court's decision today. If allowed to stand, this decision would drastically limit the ability of victims of abuse to obtain justice through the legal system, Walter's lawyers told USA Today in a statement on Thursday, adding that the court based its decision on the timeliness of Ashley's claims and not the merits.
Well,
so
they did say too few facts.
Yes, so
that was a factor.
And it's like the lawyer in Amber Heard's trial. Hearsay. Like, if you can't actually prove, what's going on, how do you actually get, move ahead at trial? And I imagine that a lot of these things are like, it ends up becoming about civil suits later, right? Like, there's a lower threshold for proof in a civil suit than there is in a criminal trial. So
he's engaged in a lawsuit with his ex, Evan Rachel Wood, who also made allegations of like sexual battery, domestic violence, things like that.
And there's a documentary that she made that she had produced.
And is he suing her for defamation?
No, I don't see anything about him. So it says, Walters originally filed her complaint in May 2021 with details accusing Manson of treating her like property, adding that he repeatedly offered Walters up to his influential industry friends and associates, giving his friends permission to grope, kiss, and have her. So that is like the most disgusting Hollywood thing I've ever heard. Like, that's exactly the type of thing you expect from people in the entertainment industry, especially someone of his stature. So do I believe that absolutely happened? Yeah.
Personally?
Probably. Yeah, I do. But do I feel like there's that an injustice is being done on the legal side here? I'm guessing that it's on the legal side, probably not, but on the moral side, absolutely, probably, yeah. But it says, at the Spike TV Scream Awards in September of 2010, Walters alleged that Manson pushed her onto the lap of an actor who proceeded to kiss Walters and keep her on his lap, according to a suit. A month later, Warner offered her up to a director who groped Walters, cornered her, and shoved her hand up her skirt while covering her mouth so that his date could not hear. These are the people that are lecturing you about morals. Remember that every time they're like...
Marilyn Manson especially. He is so condescending and preachy.
Really?
For someone who pretends to be about, like...
Is he really? I don't know much about his...
from what I have seen.
Okay.
For someone who, like, pretends to be about, like, free expression and, like... he just pretends to be, like, the most... intellectually honest person ever. He's so like this is just the epitome of like the people preaching at the choir. Like,
I don't know a ton about Marilyn Manson, but I did read a fair amount of the stuff about Evan Rachel Wood, and then I looked it up. He did sue her for defamation, and I haven't been able to see like where that case has progressed. But I feel like he is this weirdly, openly horrible person, but because he has this like weird semi-gender fluid aesthetic.
This image like, from the 90s.
People
where
are
he
like,
was like subversive and cool.
Yeah, and so people are like, oh, that's just what he does, crazy old Marilyn. And it's like, no, you should like look, especially like he is a walking red flag, and I like am not against like, a more dark gothy aesthetic, but like he is weird, and he's been openly weird for years, and yet we're like, oh my gosh, can you believe it? It turns out in private, he's worse. It turns out when he's alone and making decisions, he is way, way worse of a person.
It is kind of funny to think, not funny, but like imagine like something awful didn't happen, but you just have a bad relationship with somebody like Marilyn Manson that looks like Marilyn Manson, and then your mom's like, well, who was this guy? And she shows you a picture of Marilyn Manson. You're like, gee, I wonder where the red flags should have come in there.
But it was like in his lyrics, from what I remember reading about. Like it's not a secret. Like, it's beyond just like, don't judge a book by the cover, except for this book, because like pass.
Does stuff like this affect your ability to like watch or listen to artists?
I don't like to support artists who I like. I don't like to, if I can avoid financially supporting artists or companies that like directly interfere with my values, I try to.
Like streaming music from somebody.
Or like I wouldn't buy a Marilyn Manson album even if I was like,
nobody buys albums anymore. Would you ever stream him, or would you like on principle never stream him?
I was never interested in him in the first place, to be fair, so it's easier for me to say, but like, no, I wouldn't do it. I like, and again, it really depends. Like, I do like to live, I think Me Too had this double-edged sword of like being important in very few cases, and for a lot of people being extremely damaging, and teaching us that like we have to be careful. We cannot convict people in the court of public opinion
I'm having a
alone.
hard time with that here because that is a strong belief of mine, but it's also one of these things where when we discuss it, I can only go by what we're talking about here. But I do, I don't want to.
But it's getting challenged when you literally can't get justice.
But or there's no facts to be had.
Well,
there's
certain
just no.
situations you cannot proceed legally.
Like the thing is, we will never be able. There may be no legal conclusion for this, but from the things that I know about like his art in particular, I just don't want to consume it.
Yeah.
And so like that's enough for me to say that like I'm not interested. If that coincides with like avoiding someone who is maybe violent and has other negative connotations, that works for me. But again, I like try to walk the line between not convicting someone on something that's not clear.
Yeah, exactly.
But also like I don't want to turn a blind eye to something that I know is like ultimately wrong or not in a value system that I support. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I only mentioned it because I like literally heard when I was like preparing the show today, the song "Killing Strangers" by Marilyn Manson came on, and thank you. There's a delay today.
Yeah.
There's a delay today, so be aware if you do super chat, it will
Just do
come.
it again. Do it a couple times.
Yeah, just
make
to
sure
make
it
sure.
goes through.
Just double check.
Wink, wink.
Just to be sure. And then like whenever I read articles like this, the ones that do have comments, I tend to go through the comments just to get a gauge for what the public is saying, especially in a site like Yahoo, which I don't know if I like. If it's like
people go hard in the Yahoo comments.
I'm saying like
Yahoo
if it's
was like an early adopter, I feel like, of like can you remember the Yahoo Ask and you could like talk about things? It was like what I think of Reddit as now.
I say that
I feel like they were pro comments before anyone else thought about it.
And I say that because like if I'm on like Hollywood Reporter or like if I'm on like AV Club or any of these other ones, I know which way the comments are going to go, and they're going to be all the way. These are like the first one says, "Go for justice when it happens. Why wait 10 years? Me Too would be a lot more believable if the victims didn't wait over a decade to come forward. It would be a lot easier to remember details when they're recent." And it's like one of those things. Like I'm not passing judgment either way. I'm saying that's where the public opinion seems to be going from a lot of people who just don't have the they're not going to look at it maybe analytically. They're just going to ask that one question and move on.
Yeah.
So.
I think the question of like why do victims not come forward right away is really hard to answer.
Yeah.
Because like you wish they could, and on the other hand, like we don't know the details. Like if this girl has an NDA with Marilyn Manson, right? And it like she has to find a lawyer, which costs money to get her out of the NDA to then talk about this. Like I think
and that's not even to mention the fact that it's just like reprocessing what you went through to tell other people about it.
Yeah, and also like at what point, like if something bad happens to you, not everyone wants to then seek justice right away. Some people just want to pretend it didn't happen.
Yep.
Which like takes time to get over if you're gonna try and get any kind of damages from someone.
And you do have to keep in mind that there are going to be people in an age where victimhood is treated like a sense of like a form of currency that will come forward and twist stories to fit a narrative. So how do you like? I refuse to pick either side as good or bad. I need to analyze these on a case by case basis, and even then I have a hard time passing judgment because I wasn't there, and all of this boils down to unprovable facts that we're just not going to be able to know without having been there, and we weren't there.
Yeah,
so.
for sure.
It's my fence-sitting take on this. But with their super chats, there was at least one or two.
Yes. Waffle Sensei says, Amber Claire, your full name is beautiful. Don't listen to the haters.
Oh my gosh, Waffle Sensei, I'm so glad you're here today.
Did you like that? Amber Claire kind of has a ring to it.
It does.
I've known a couple. Amber Claire's not a bad name. I knew someone who was Emma Claire.
That's nice.
Like her parents knew my parents, and then they're like, "Oh, that double name thing's really working."
Amber Claire, I like it.
I actually love double-barreled names. We just don't live in a society that really has space for them on any bureaucratic form.
And that's a problem. One more.
Alexandria Oakley says Marilyn Manson has allegations in the past too. Is he becoming the new Michael Jackson for allegations?
Interesting.
What exactly would that mean, though?
If you want to see an interesting take on this, the YouTuber Razor Fist has a series of videos in the past about the Michael Jackson allegations that I highly recommend.
But he totally like dogmatically is pro Michael Jackson.
I'm just saying, if you're looking for the
Whatever.
opposite perspective from what the media was saying for a long
Sure.
time, he's an interesting one to take a look at. Is that you've seen those?
I know
Yeah.
Razor Fizz.
Yeah.
I know of his dogmatic support for Michael Jackson, and I think it's stupid.
It's weird because it's not like Michael Jackson's like not allowed to be in the public. He's not like canceled in public.
He's dead.
But I'm
he
saying, like,
died before
but his
any of this cancellation stuff even came to be.
But his music is still supported and
Yeah.
played and stuff like that. And a lot of times they won't even do that now. Like
Really?
with people. No, I'm saying with people that are not him, but I'm saying in
Yeah.
general with people.
Yeah, because I think that was kind of a wash. Like, people were so divided on it that
Yep.
there was no shared conclusion.
It's very hard to get a shared conclusion on any of this. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we are going to talk about Top Gun Maverick, which
Here we go.
and guys, we are going to talk spoilers. So before we get started, just to know that I do not know how to artfully do a review without spoilers. So if you are waiting to go see Top Gun Maverick, perhaps this is not the segment for you.
Maybe come back in like 15 minutes.
I shouldn't be saying that because it may cut viewers down.
There's
but
no such
don't
thing
turn
as a
it
Top
off.
Gun Maverick spoiler. You already know what's going to happen.
it is the most
so-
Top Gun movie ever, and it's freaking awesome.
The thing is, don't click away from the screen. Just mute it. Come back in like 15 minutes.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, I actually think Mary's right. I don't think there are going to be a whole lot of spoilers. I do want to ask your opinion first off. Did you like it or not? Yes or thumbs up or thumbs
On the
down?
binary, is it a 0 or a 1? I would say it's a 1.
Okay.
One being positive,
Yes.
like you liked it.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
could have just done a thumbs up or a thumbs down there, but sure.
We have to bring computer code into it. No. Yeah, I liked it. Which, okay.
Yeah,
So make
Hannah
it
Claire was
progress.
like excited last night. She's like, I've got so much to say, and then she just hits me with a I liked it.
I
Okay.
can't get out of my head when it showed the Mission Impossible trailer that was like,
Okay,
what is
okay.
it? Is it 7 or 8?
Dead Reckoning is. I think that makes it 8.
Part
8.1.
7.1 or 8.1. One of the
Okay,
two.
okay. The context here for anyone who's never joined us before.
If this is your first pop culture crisis episode,
I'm a very open anti-sequels kind of person. I am against almost every sequel that's produced in the modern age. I think that they're useless, unnecessary. I get you can make money off of it. Stop telling me that. I understand. I just think we should have higher standards for the content we produce.
Stop telling her that.
Don't tell her that you can make money off
I
of
get
it.
that you can make money. That's not enough for me anymore. I've
No.
moved beyond that. That being said, the second thing that happened, we talked. I don't remember about what movie, but one day, early on, I want to say in the 30 episode bracket.
Yep.
I don't think you're even here yet. We talked about Tom Cruise, and I said, "Does anyone actually have an opinion at all about Tom Cruise?" And Brett, I thought, had a heart attack because you said to me the other day before we went to see the movie, Brett looked at me and he said, "Your lack of opinion or slightly negative opinion of Tom Cruise makes me realize that I love Tom Cruise," or something to that effect.
I did not say. I said that I am just by the virtue of being the opposite end of you means that it makes it seem like I love him when I just kind of tolerate
I think
him.
we both thought we were neutral on Tom Cruise, but as the more we talk about it, we like move on the scale. So I was very grateful that you extended the invite and I could come.
Yes.
I forced my way into going to Top Gun Maverick. And in honor of that occasion, I did in fact watch the original Top Gun beforehand.
Did you like
so
that
I'm not
one?
just blindly passing
Oh,
judgment. Mhm.
Okay.
I did like it.
36 years between the two movies.
That's wild. That's an entire person.
I'm 35, so it's my whole lifetime, but between
Plus.
the two movies. And Tom Cruise still looks fantastic for his age. I'm sure his
plastic-
doctors have done very well.
His
for him.
plastic surgeon and hairstylist are doing it. It was kind of funny to see him versus Val Kilmer, who also looks great for his age, but he looks his actual age, as
Yeah.
opposed to Tom Cruise, who has suspiciously dark, not gray at all hair.
So you do get to see Val Kilmer as Iceman. He does actually. One thing that was interesting is they played it up like they weren't going to have Val Kilmer talk in the movie because of Val Kilmer's struggling with throat cancer.
Which you didn't realize. You didn't realize he like legitimately has throat cancer.
Yeah,
right?
I was confused as to whether that was just a plot point or
No, that's part
what,
of.
but-
And they include him in the movie, and they are the only two characters from the original movie, and that's why I think this movie is so damn successful. Is because you would think that this movie was full of the old cast and full of all the nostalgia, but the nostalgia is done in a perfect way.
Yeah.
It's been so long since I saw the first Top Gun that I didn't realize until after we left that is it true that like Penny She was not.
She wasn't.
She
in
was
the
referenced.
in the original.
Yeah,
she was only a
reference her.
reference.
Yeah, they reference her as like they're in like I think the bar scene that like
At the very beginning when they're like, "Yep, thank
Hello,
you." They're like,
thanks.
"You slept with the admiral's daughter."
and Goose looks at him and goes, "Penny," and Tom Cruise is like, "Oh, I'm just a playboy. Who knows?"
And they did this because they did not want to cast the woman who
Right.
played from the original movie
'Cause
or
she's
Meg Ryan.
old and ugly.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay,
That's-
so
but
they
that
did that.
is literally why.
But I also think that like casting Penny, who like Goose is young and has this young family with Meg Ryan, right? And they're
Yes.
beautiful and blonde and southern, maybe from Texas, who knows? And then having Penny be like Tom Cruise's when I was a young man in the military, like even younger when they get to Top
Yeah.
Gun, like his fling, who they allude to having this like on and off again relationship
with the
for many
beautiful
years.
Jennifer Connelly.
It contrasts so much to what Goose had in his
Yeah.
family life and therefore did not get to live out. And Tom Cruise kind of had this opportunity and also did not have the timing or the conviction to seize this relationship. I mean, there's a scene I'm just gonna go ahead and get really specific. One of my favorite moments in this movie, and again, it's why like if you're gonna make a sequel, I do think it should be done like this.
Yes.
And again, I am not reversing my opinion on sequels.
We're going to change her mind someday, folks.
Absolutely not. Have you seen The Fast and the Furious? Garbage.
Exactly. That's why they're awesome.
I will say, we were sitting there and like Tom Cruise appears in Mission Impossible and I look at Brett and he's like, yeah.
yeah.
Well, because I knew it was going to, because I knew it would upset you.
Yeah. It did. But there's this moment where he has, you know, he's seen Penny, this like one that gets away kind of off and on, or he leaves behind, and he drives her, you remember, to her house, like he's on his like motorcycle.
Which is the house
so
from
cool.
the original.
Is it the house? I
It's
was
the-
wondering.
If it's not, it's almost
similar.
exactly like
but
it.
that's not that crazy
But-
because like that
But
area
she
probably
didn't live there in that movie. That's
but
why.
it looks similar. I feel like whatever. It's nostalgic, and it's also like contrasting. Like he could have had this family life, but instead he went to this like I'm a solo fighter pilot, lone wolf. But anyways, so he drops her off, and she has some like flirty banter, and she goes inside, and the door closes, and you can hear her talking to her teenage daughter,
Yep.
and saying like, you know, hey, like, do you want dinner? I'll make you dinner, whatever. It's super domestic. And then it cuts to him, and the mission screen is behind him, and he's
Thank
in his
you.
uniform, and he says, time is your greatest enemy. And
Yep.
I feel like that is such an interesting message for people for today who are delaying having families, who are putting the careers before everything else, who are waiting until everything in their life is perfect to take kind of bigger steps in life.
Okay.
Matt Walsh one time I was listening to him and he was like, my wife and I got married young and our family became the cornerstone of our adult lives as opposed to the capstone.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a similar messaging here in
Yeah.
Top Gun that was like, you have the opportunity to live all kinds of lives, but if you wait, you lose them.
I will say that the script in this movie is extremely tight and well done.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is quite a bit longer than the original Top Gun by almost 40 minutes.
It didn't feel that
And
long.
that's what I'm
Didn't
saying.
feel long at all.
The biggest compliment I can give this movie is that I did not look at my phone, nay, like one time maybe, because I got an alarm for phantom money gun going off at the house here. And
I never thought, when is this gonna be over?
yes, okay, so I'm one of those people, because I am so ADHD, that even in the immersive experience of a full screen of a full cinema, I can be a phone checker. I try not to be. I try to be respectful. I always.
Shame.
I'm surprised.
Shame on you,
I am
Brett.
honestly so surprised you're admitting to this. I did not. I thought you would be the most anti-phone in the theater
I sit
person.
in the very back.
so I can check. My
So
phone.
just so I don't ruin it
Millennial.
for anyone else, but the script is extremely tight and well done. It pays homage where it needs to pay homage. It deviates where it needs to deviate. There's some really interesting stuff. The most important part you'll notice is that they waited. Tom Cruise championed this movie not going to streaming because there's no way they would have put the amount of money and time into the technology to make that movie without CGI. If this had been done with aerial, like with mid-level green screen shots for the dogfighting scenes, the whole thing falls apart.
It was fun to see it in the theater,
Yes.
like on the big screen with the surround. There's a scene where, like, I think it's in the beginning. One of the planes is like rumbling, and you
Yes.
can like feel it in your seat. In like we weren't in like IMAX.
We
or anything. It
yeah
was
we
just,
didn't
like,
go
a
to the
theater.
whole movie was shot in
It was
IMAX too.
super cool.
So it's worth it almost enough just to go see these aerial scenes that are done in these planes that are absolutely
he did have
breathtaking.
that note at the beginning of or before it began.
Yes, we got a personal
where he
message
said it
from
was
Tom.
real, but I wasn't sure to what
Yeah.
extent he meant that it was like real speed
Yeah,
that they were using.
The U.S. military loaned them planes
Yep.
for this.
Three
Yeah.
out of 6 of
because
the
they need the advertisement.
Also because You told me this. Top Gun, the original, was a huge recruiting moment for
500% increase or
and
5,000%
so
increase
but that
in
means
military.
all of those people who like maybe they didn't make it to Top Gun, but they're in the military, having like been born in this period of like Reaganism and the 80s and the military, are now at this point in the movie where they're like, no, we love that movie, we have to bring it back.
Yes,
they are all the people you and I were like, oh, I understand why there are some people who are like, I love Top Gun.
Although, Brett, you mentioned it is a little less heavy-handed with, like, the patriotism.
There
like
is
the
still
American
plenty.
flag, America F yeah energy.
I was like, whereas in the original there was like 3 American flags in every scene, there's like one in every scene, and I'm here for it. I love it, and it's like it's unapologetic.
Yeah, I love that too.
I do want to point out that the funniest thing about this movie is the unnamed enemy, which they go they are very painstaking in their ability to not name just who the hell they're going against in this mission that they're training for.
That's in the snow.
But I did find out that according to a trivia site, they said that the only place that it could have been is Iran, because that is the only other country that used F-14s besides us.
Yeah.
So it's like it's implied, but they never actually say it, and they go as far as to give like, whereas like all the fighter pilots in Top Gun have clear masks on that show their eyes so you can see their facial expressions.
These ones might as well be stormtroopers. They're like super black.
It's literally Cobra Commander. You're literally you can't see that. There's no Mary's like, I looked for Cyrillic writing on the planes.
I was literally like, where is it?
So it's like so it has
it's
to
like
be
a
Iran.
nondescript Slavic enemy, except for the fact that
seems
actually
that way.
That's what it is. It's like it's just nondescript bad guy.
It's kind of funnier that they would be like, we're gonna pick a plane that would be a different, possibly bad guys like military.
Yeah. So the point of this movie is, if you're looking for a general synopsis, is that Tom Cruise as Maverick is kind of reaching the end of his career. He never advanced in the military. He stayed a captain this whole time, flying aircraft. In that, if it wasn't for Iceman, he would have who did
constantly wingmanning him.
Yeah,
who calling him back from the brink.
He became like an admiral.
He's not only an admiral. He contrasts Maverick so beautifully. He's like a decorated admiral who people adore and respect. John Hamm's character, Cyclone, like says like, I have a lot of respect for Iceman,
and I have no idea why he thinks so highly of you.
Right, and he like has this beautiful house that you get some views of the ocean, and you can see when they come in, it's like they must have 5 children and 900 grandchildren, and they're all running in the backyard.
I will say that there was the very first scene between Maverick and Penny had some very clunky dialogue. She kept saying his name, and he kept saying her name at the beginning of sentences, and it felt really... Oh,
I didn't notice
that. I thought that was a little weird. They had to like introduce her to be like, this is Penny. Do you remember Penny, the Admiral's daughter? Do you remember from that first movie? But I also thought it was sort of this dynamic of like, she keeps calling him Pete.
Yes.
When everyone else calls him Mav or Maverick. And so she's like, but I know you on like a personal level. I know you outside of the military. And in some ways, the relationship, the military keeps them separated because he uses it, I would assume, through his career to not commit to a family, to not be tied down.
My only complaint was that dialogue felt slightly clunky to me, and some of the dialogue between the new recruits in that first scene when they're in the bar felt like maybe that was shot at the very beginning before they as actors got comfortable with each other. I will point out that in a lot of the trivia for this movie, there's like a lot of attention paid to like how like much time all the men spent getting in shape just for the volleyball scene. To like mirror that, like we're like,
but it's not volleyball; it's football this time.
It's like dual football where you play offense and defense at the same time.
Funny.
Which is they actually tie in beautifully to the movie, saying that it's relevant to how they're planning for this mission. And they talk about how like basically they shot that scene, and then everyone goes and engorges on like donuts and food and beer, and then like a week later Tom Cruise is like, we have to reshoot it. It didn't. Thank you. And then like a week later goes by, and they're like, we have to reshoot it. It didn't come out good enough. Thank you again.
I think that was so funny. Also, like Tom Cruise is like, we need to have more shirtless beach scenes because it's not I'm beautiful and young, says Tom Cruise.
No, but the thing is, I think they very rarely showed him from the stomach down. They got him like pecs up for most of it.
I think they can't do that because he is like when I remember watching the one that came out in the 80s, there are a couple scenes where I was looking at it, I was like, Tom Cruise is standing on a soapbox. They are making.
They didn't
him
do
taller.
that as much in this movie,
but they couldn't do it this time because we all famously know how tall Tom Cruise is now, and they cast these younger guys who are like, we all know they're taller than them.
There's a good shot of him and the character of Rooster. Rooster is Goose's
son.
Rooster is Goose's son, which all the actors get to pick their code names. And
the actors did.
The actors got to pick their their call signs. Excuse me, not code names.
And
their
they
call
worked
signs.
Hangman's into the script.
Yeah. So he picked Goose. He picked Rooster because it's in the same family as Goose. And there's a scene, which, by the way, I don't know if Miles Teller actually looks like the actor. I always forget, it's the guy from ER, but I always forget the guy, Jeffrey Dean Anderson. No, not Jeffrey Dean Anderson. That's the guy from... the
guy who plays Goose originally.
That's not him. That's somebody else have to correct me. That's the guy from MacGyver, I think. So
he has an uncanny resemblance.
I think it's
Except
mostly
he's
the
like
mustache.
brunette, and then he had 2 blonde parents, and we're like, it's fine, whatever. Highlights.
It happens.
You give
He's in the sun.
You give this dude a mustache, and he does look. He resembles him almost chillingly in the movie. That could be me just wanting to believe that that's his son, but it's beautiful. And then the guy who
I liked how they did the parallel between him on the piano,
yes,
and his dad. But I like that they kept it at that, and they didn't keep on doing little cut scenes to the first movie.
I
was so happy they did that, because it was like there were too many things that I was afraid they would overdo.
Yes.
So Rooster, Goose's son, who's now made it to Top Gun, who's great and rides into a motorcycle, kind of like Tom Cruise. And then they have Hangman, who is sort of the blonde.
Who was up for the role of Rooster, but they ended up.
Well, and he's sort of the Val Kilmer.
Yes, they do. They mirror
Iceman
it. They mirror it in the handshake at the end.
The thing about Iceman in the first movie is that he is kind of a jerk, but also he's got a lot of discipline. And he says to Tom Cruise at one point in some scene, he's like, "You lack discipline," or
he's very clearly a parallel to Val Kilmer's character.
Right, but Hangman was much more arrogant to me, and it was interesting to be how are they going to give him his own storyline and redemption? How are we going to make him likable the way we came to like Iceman?
I don't think they accomplished that really, because when he came through for them in the end, he still kind of used it to be self-aggrandizing.
Yeah, but he's not going to change completely.
Yeah, I know.
But he did come back. That's
and if they do it too much, they're just copy pasting. Yep. We wanted this movie to be more than just a repeat of Top Gun.
It's its own thing, but it beautifully calls back. I do want to call out one thing that I believe that never would have happened, and that's a bunch of Gen Z kids in a bar singing Great Balls of Fire on a piano. I'm calling BS. Not going to happen.
Well, but to be fair, they were millennials. Not
okay,
yes.
The
Zoomer has spoken.
Even a bunch of millennials.
Unless it's because as soon as Rooster sits down, the girl character, the female pilot, is like, "Oh, come on, we got to do it." And it made me think oh, does he know the story from his childhood? Oh, your dad used to play Great Balls of Fire. And that's why he knows that specific song. So everyone who graduated with him is Rooster does this thing. He plays this one song and we all know it, I actually really liked, I don't remember the call sign for this guy, but I think Kane, maybe the guy in the beginning.
Yes.
Who
I don't know if that was his call sign, if that was just that guy.
That guy's last name.
Yeah.
But he says he gives this monologue about how Tom Cruise is of a different kind. They eventually won't even need pilots to fly the planes.
That was supposed to be a bigger plot point for this movie. It was supposed to be contrasting drone warfare and pilots. I will say there is a certain amount of suspension of disbelief that they could have just used a drone to do this.
Yeah.
I think part of it is
it's 2022.
But it's beautiful. I don't care,
but I am
dude.
So
it's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that wasn't a bigger plot point, because I thought it set up this whole thing of being semi-nostalgic about the past, but also this constant theme of time throughout this movie. That's what I felt the strongest was this guy being you are of a different time. Men like you will not be around forever. Yeah. And it gives me, there's that poem where it says we'll fight as we go into this good night or whatever, and it makes me think about how what he's saying is basically you should, is it a warning or is it a telling Tom Cruise to give up? And either way, Tom Cruise, because he's Tom Cruise, proves himself to be useful. This idea that like this generation of this kind of soldier is leaving, like that must be a very strange thing to face, especially if you're a career military man. You know what I mean?
There was the article about like whether this movie echoes Hollywood's past. Is this the echo of a dying form of the industry? I almost brought that article up today, but I'm just not even going to give it the time of day because it's
pass.
Just F these people who have that type of opinion. Like it's just.
Well, I also think that
Well,
this, like,
I mean, to be fair, like doing all of these remakes and sequels, Top Gun Maverick is no exception to the rule that you can't create new property.
I think that's.
But you have to pay homage to it when it's done right.
Yes, it was done right, but it's like still.
Okay,
we get something new?
I kind of lied.
Yeah,
I do have the article here, and I'm gonna at least reference part of it here, and that's why this bothered me. It says when they talk about the fetishization, I can never say that one, fetishization of U.S. military might. He raised another key point on the minds of many. Is this movie one of the last gasps of a dying Hollywood empire, or is it the emotionally stirring, viscerally gripping, and proudly old-fashioned storytelling, the latest adrenaline shot that the Hollywood industry so desperately needs? Yes, it is that. It is a callback to a time. First of all, if you want to actually unite people, this movie brings in so much of what people want today, which is diverse casts. There's women in Top Gun. Is it over the top? Is it like half women? No, but I'm guessing half of the women in these programs are not. Or half
women
of the
are not
people,
half. It's not 50-50.
It's like when they cast women as like Navy SEALs or Delta Force operators. I'm like, that's not a real thing. It just has not happened yet. There has not been a woman that has worked in these industries. So they pay homage, and they have a woman play a very prominent that young fighter pilot plays a very prominent role.
Well, there are two female fighter pilots in that class, and then a lot of the women are on board or doing things.
That one
Coyote,
Phoenix gets the most screen time, and she has a very important arc, as she's the only one who actually crashes a plane in this movie, but then, like a phoenix, rises.
I pointed out that to you when we were leaving.
Yes, and she flies in the mission at the end. So they do all the things that you need to do in Hollywood to market to modern audiences, but they pay homage to the old one without telling you that the old time was wrong.
Yeah, I think it was really good of them that they pointed out he is the old timer without being like, you're not used to the way things are now.
That was never
like we have a new world, new rules, whatever.
At least not in the context of social issues. Maybe in the context of the military. It's almost
maybe
like
in the context of technology.
And yes, it stands in as the argument for that.
Well,
and
it's in the context of like
rules.
aging. Like I go back to time. Like they are literally younger and probably stronger than Tom Cruise is. Like he's doing great. He looks fit, but like that's just the way it works. And the same thing with the planes. Like he says like, oh, it's been a while since I've flown like an F-18 or whatever. Like older planes he's more experienced on. They will ultimately be more experienced on newer planes than he ever will be, because he will have to retire. I think also that there is a fear in Hollywood of like just overtly patriotic films,
and I hate that.
And I hate it. I'm against it. I also think that like this idea that like, you know, they selected the nation's best pilots to come do this mission knowing that like it has high risk. Like the idea,
they were essentially saying you're gonna die and trying to be very polite about it.
It goes against our narrative in popular culture of like you should do things for yourself and get to know yourself, and you need to discover yourself. That's why you should leave marriages, or that's why you shouldn't get married younger. That's why you shouldn't commit to careers, because you're just getting to know yourself.
They do not like.
And this is for greater common good, and this is for a united front.
It's not even about like common good so much as it's
being
giving
part
people
of
a
something
story about sacrificing for
something bigger than yourself. Yes. Like the idea that you do this it's almost a little bit different, because I don't know if I buy that Tom Cruise, that Maverick does it because he's committed to something bigger than he is. I think it's all he knows.
Well, I think Maverick's, what we learn about Maverick is that he ultimately feels that like, rather than splitting from the military and like having to make the decisions like, I'm not going to take that mission because I'm married, because I'm having kids, like that maybe Goose would have had to if he had survived.
Yep.
Tom Cruise does not make attachments outside the military. I mean, he's friendships and stuff, but ultimately he positions himself so that he can be a cog in the machine.
Yep.
And I know that like having known some generals and stuff, they say like, you know, eventually you're not the one flying the plane. You're the one being John Hamm deciding who gets in the plane and how the budget gets spent. And Tom Cruise, Maverick, as a character, didn't want to make that decision. He wanted to be actively moving along in this system that is the U.S. military for as long as he could.
Love John Hamm and Charles Parnell as the two senior
I
executives.
could watch John Hamm all day long. He's amazing.
And Chris Parnell has like the greatest voice ever. Like he's just got this great deep voice that just works. There's also a great scene where it's like it felt like they didn't have another take of it, where when he's when they finish the mission and they're like the two like Parnell, a Warlock and Cyclone are on top of the deck. Warlock's like,
and Warlock has,
and it's really fake looking. Like I don't know why. It's just, I love it though. It hams up the like, yeah, America,
I was trying
and
to
I'm
figure
here
out
for it.
if that was like, you know how they like when they're in their box pilot thing, they like signal to each other. They do different things. If that was supposed to be like an exaggerated pilot, like. So you can see me from afar, I'm cheering for you, or if it was just like awkward.
Also, they do subvert expectations in a way that does not offend you here. And the fact that you hear Tom Cruise, once he finally kind of settles things with Rooster, he's like, we'll talk about it when we get back. And I just rolled my eyes. I'm like, crap, he's totally going to die. Like, and that's not what happened.
Do you think he should have died?
I think the cleanest original version of that story was for him to, what?
That would just be like a painful movie to
But
watch.
I think that was the cleanest original story, like cut of this story, is that he sacrifices himself for the son of the man who died with him. Also, kind
Well, it's
of,
like he can finally repay this debt he feels like he's been carrying for a
yes,
long time.
and it also means that he does not get to. Basically, you find out that that Maverick pulled Rooster's application for Top Gun and set his
for the Naval Academy.
Okay, but it set his career back 4 years, right? And in a hero story, he's not the one who because then like they find out like, and he doesn't know that you did this because
His mom
said on her deathbed, do not let him fly because she's afraid that he's going to die. In the real hero's journey, he never reveals that truth to the person who he's imposed that upon. Somebody else reveals that. The person finds out, maybe they do, maybe they don't, but you never are the one who's like, look, I pulled your application because your mom made me. That's not the heroic thing to do.
That was exemplary humility because explaining yourself is something you do for yourself and your peace of mind, not somebody else.
Well, and he made a promise. Like he has a standard. He doesn't want the kid to like resent his mom.
Exactly.
And then he's like, well, I made a decision not to tell him, so I'm not going to tell him. I'm not going to back down because there's a moment where I want him to forgive me.
And that is a beautifully done bit of of heroism via storytelling that I feel is missing on a lot of writing that we see today. So he says, like, we'll talk about it when we get back. So I initially thought that he was gonna to bite it, and then you still get a shot of Tom Cruise running in the snow because every movie has to have Tom Cruise on a motorcycle and lots of running. The scenes are incredible. So guys, I don't think we actually spoiled that much about the plot. We talked more about the concepts behind the movie.
I think it's worth going to see. And
is.
I do think that you could take someone who's not a Top Gun fan or who hasn't seen it and they'll still have a good time.
That is the thing that a way that you know that it was well made is that you can go watch this movie and the callbacks and the well done things will just feel like story elements. It won't feel like you're like wink wink nudge nudge Bob's your uncle. It's not going to be that in this case. You can take somebody who's never seen Top Gun to this movie and just get a great story of someone aging, changing their priorities and fulfilling promises, all this stuff. It's I feel like Hollywood today makes things more complicated than they need to. This is a very simple story to tell. It's just a very hard one to tell well.
See, I think it's that there are values in this movie that they don't want to promote. And
absolutely.
That's just, so they tie their own hands. They can't produce good movies because they don't have strong values and strong messages behind them.
Somebody did ask me, they did get rid of the Taiwanese and the Japanese flag because Tencent was one of the major production companies behind this, which is Chinese backing. So that's, when you're producing a movie, you have to take your money where you can get it.
Before we go to Super Chats, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What would your call sign be, Brett?
My call sign?
You're up next, Mary.
I have no idea what my call sign would be.
Really?
I would have to. It would probably be something. I have no idea. Why? What would yours be?
I have to think about it. I really don't know.
I already know mine.
Okay, Mary, lay it on us.
Ghosts.
Yeah,
Ghost?
that's what I was thinking as soon as I asked you.
Oddly enough,
Ghostface.
Too easy.
my dad, my nickname growing up was Lefty because I was left-handed at everything I did.
That's so funny.
Maybe as a callback to my dad, it would be very ironic given where we work. That's a very ironic thing. So.
I feel like I picked something with skating for you.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Oh, I apologize.
I wouldn't do that. I
You
don't
wouldn't
think.
do that.
I don't. Would be very lame. I think.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, there's something there because, like, planes glide, you glide when you're skating. I don't know. We can come up with something.
We'll have to workshop that
Okay.
later. Super chats.
Yeah, Caper2X says some money for Mary's baking fund / chicken crisis party. P.S. Can we place Hannah Claire under the confetti dispenser before the light show? Asking for a friend.
What?
Can we do that?
Under what?
I don't understand why you have to be the victim of all of this, but you know, it's what the people want.
Okay.
Give the
I-
people
I
what
don't
they
people
want.
What they want.
I don't know what confetti we're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what the confetti is.
I mean, as long as Hannah Claire doesn't have to clean it up, I guess.
Yeah,
you
I'm
know,
down. Also, no dunk
whatever.
booth because, again, electrical equipment.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
Alexandria Oakley says the tech they used to give Val Kilmer his voice back is truly groundbreaking. It's great they were able to include him in this movie because of it. I didn't know they used any technology to give him his voice.
He has like a voice box, right?
Yeah, but it didn't sound like I said. I was kind of like weirdly dreading hearing him speak because I knew because when he does use it in public, it's very rough sounding.
Yeah, older versions of this, like, they sound really robotic. But I also knew that, like, Tom Cruise had said, like, I'm not doing this film without him.
Which is interesting because they didn't get along on set from the first one.
Just like their characters.
Just-
They didn't get along when they're in Top Gun, and at the
Wow.
end, they
So
are
poetic.
bestest buddies.
It's very poetic. All right, next.
Waffles Sensei says sequels can actually be the best movie. A sequel doesn't have to introduce a story like the first or close out a story like the third. It can simply tell a real story in the middle. The Two Towers, Guardians Volume 2, Dark Knight, etc. are examples.
I like Dark Knight. And again, I saw Dark Knight is actually one of my favorite movies. And I saw it alone. I saw it before I saw anything else. But generally, you know, I just don't think that that's true in today's standards. I think of how many movies are produced in the 8, 9, 10s, how many random spin-offs of universe we have. Like, they are all essentially poorly written sequels. They make money, but if we're talking about the content of the movies, are you going to really savor watching it? Are you going to walk away with more thoughts and, you know, a better understanding, a more nuanced view of the world because of it? Like, no, I don't think most modern sequels do that.
There's also a distinction to be made that there's a fundamental difference in creating a sequel and in creating the middle part of a trilogy, which are not the same things.
That's different.
If you're going to create a trilogy, the Dark Knight so Dark Knight and also the Lord of the Rings example are both middle pieces of trilogies. Fun fact, I actually like Batman Begins more than the rest of that trilogy.
Really?
As much as I love the Dark Knight and as much as I am completely ambivalent on the Dark Knight Rises, I love Batman Begins. I think it got the atmosphere of Gotham a million times better than the other movies did. The Dark Knight rides on Joker and the crime story storytelling, but if you want to talk about the actual like image of what I imagine Gotham would be in the real world, it was far more comic book accurate looking in that movie, and the way the deep oranges and everything, the rain on the streets and everything like that when he picks Flask gets picked up by Batman and he just swear to me, like that to me is a perfect example. Or when he meets King Joffrey earlier in the movie. I don't know if you guys remember that. King Joffrey is thank you.
Ooh.
So next.
Raymond G. Stanley Jr. says, "Hola, y'all. Congrats on the success of PCC going live, and Mary is a welcomed addition to the cast. I'd love to hear your take on Arcane. I loved it."
That's an interesting one. I don't play. That's the one based on League of Legends. It's a animated television show on Netflix based on I believe on a gaming property. I have not seen it, but that is one that it would actually might be interesting to review because it got very high reviews almost across the board, similar to Castlevania, the Castlevania Netflix adaptation comic or animated movie or animated TV show, got very good reviews as well. I don't know if it was the same studio that produced those outside of Netflix. I don't know if it's the same production company, but both of those are very well regarded. So
I feel like you should loop our game developer in on this one because I don't know what that is and I don't really play a lot of
I
video
don't either.
games. So, but
No.
we're excited for you. Have a great
Knowledgeable
time.
about it.
exactly.
Oh, we got two. KW Brady Sancho sent $5 with no message, and then he sent another $5 with a message saying y'all should bring up how the Dark Towers was ruined in film.
Is that the one with Matthew McConaughey? Am I imagining that? Is that the one with Matthew?
I have no idea.
I'm. Someone want to look that up.
Vamp for a second.
I
look it up.
apologize.
Vamp.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I apologize.
Somebody super chat in and tell me what your recommendations for our call signs are. I would actually really like
Someone
to know.
said Brett should be Jedi.
Oh, ooh.
Why would it be Jedi? You don't even like Star Wars.
I don't. I don't care. I mean, I don't dislike Star Wars.
All-knowing.
We're gonna be actually that is a perfect
Someone
comment.
said Hannah Claire Banana Bear.
No.
That's a bit long for a call sign.
My call
too.
sign is just banana.
You're like almost dying, and you're like, Banana Bear.
Banana Bear's good. I like Banana
Do you
Bear.
copy, Banana Bear?
hang right.
Actually, speaking of Jedi, guys, we're actually going to be reviewing Kenobi here on the channel.
Amazing segue.
Thank you. Outside of the regular show,
working.
we are going to have Andrew, our game developer who works here, who is the world's biggest Star Wars fan, reviewing Kenobi. So you know that. Look at Hannah Claire's face right now.
Banana Bear, are you okay?
Sorry. Andrew, our game developer, who does work here. We promise. He's a real person. He
Yeah.
works here.
Yeah.
Well, we've
We
mentioned
didn't make him up. He's real.
We've
He works
mentioned
here.
him several times.
Andrew, who works here as a
Andrew,
job.
who is a game developer here, who is the world's biggest Star Wars fan, who, of course, hates Disney Star Wars, is going to be here to review it with us. So if you like me torturing Dane with Halo and video game crap, you just get ready for Andrew being forced to... Actually, I'm not forcing him. He suggested
Yeah.
that we
I
cover
think
it.
I started this.
Yes.
It's going to be good because it's going to be negative. And I love negativity.
He is legitimately a video game developer. You love movies. It's like a good area of expertise
Yes.
for both of you.
So we're going to be... we're actually going to be recording that tonight, and that review will hopefully, if all goes correctly, come out tomorrow. So I think it's time to move on. We've gone
Are there
very
any left?
long...
Yes.
Hold on.
What?
Are there any left?
No.
No. All right, we're going to go on. We're going to move on to our final of the regular topics today, and that is, oh, man. Euphoria star Dominic Fike feels the need to tell the crowd that he wants Amber Heard to beat him up. I was
This is
looking.
what I've been saying.
I was looking.
What is
I was
this?
looking for like a more. It's the end of the trial. They're in closing arguments right now. Mary went to the courthouse today to talk to people about this. I was kind of looking for like a. I'm like, I want a retrospective and discuss like what does this really mean for our culture? What does Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard mean for
You
our
know what it
society?
means?
And you know what it means? It means nothing. It means nothing. It means stuff like this. So instead, we're going to talk about the ridiculousness of just culture at large when it comes to these
Can I
topics.
make one slight contrary opinion?
Yes.
Okay.
I am legitimately interested to see how the judge rules on this defamation case because I think defamation is one of the leading legal issues in our country these
Okay.
days because of the power of social media as well as individual platforms, right? And so this is boring legalese, but I would be really curious to see how this ruling is presented. Either way, no matter who wins, loses, or does nothing. But you're right. Like, none of us are going to wake up tomorrow different because of whatever happened between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Were you pumped that you got to use legalese in a sentence?
I could use legalese any day of the week.
Beautiful. Love it.
But, yeah. Anyways.
So it says
this is weird.
Euphoria star and singer Dominic Fike has been called out by fans for making an insensitive comment about Amber Heard amid court case against Johnny Depp. At one of his recent shows, he said that
Is this insensitive?
that he had fantasized about getting beat up by Heard. Several members of the crowd appeared to then boo him.
Sorry. Shows? Is he a...
He's an actor from the
said-
show Euphoria, and he's also a musician.
Oh, okay.
So
I'm going to be real with y'all. I actually think Amber Heard is hot, dude.
Yes,
I
she's
know,
hot.
I know.
Whoa,
it's not a
groundbreaking opinion
popular
there.
opinion, and it's not the focus at the moment, but I've been having these visions of her where she's beating me up. I think it's hot.
Dude, nobody's saying she's not hot. That's the opposite of the
But here's
not
the
accurate
thing, like,
opinion.
at this point, people are so attached to the idea that, like, everyone is beautiful or you're only beautiful based on what's on the inside that you have to, like, act like Amber Heard isn't beautiful
Also-
to say she's a bad person, which
Absolutely.
is insane.
Is this insensitive? He's saying Amber Heard is so beautiful, I want her to punch me in the face.
Which is what she was saying the whole time.
That's what I've been saying is, like, my hypothesis for why did Johnny Depp tolerate her behavior for so long?
He's like, I don't really like.
Why
Yes,
did
there's
Elon
such a
Musk-
thing as, like, psychological coercion, but come on, it's because she's hot.
Yeah.
Like, hello.
Why did Elon Musk pay off the ACL?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like
What he's saying is not. It's like when
that's why I'm saying there's no power imbalance. She has the power.
There's a really funny episode of I don't, was it Bones, where somebody's like, they're talking about like a boy and a girl in a relation, like a teen, like it's two parents, like they have like kids together or like they each have their own kid and they're talking about their kids getting into relationships, and one of them says like talks about their daughter and their boyfriend is like, my daughter or her boyfriend got into it's Castle. He's like he got into Stanford when she didn't, and I'm worried that that's changing the power imbalance in the relationship. And Beckett's like, well, she's a teenage girl in a relationship, so I think she still pretty much has all the power in that relationship, which is of course it's weirdly alluding to the fact that means that she controls the ability for him to become intimate with her. But I think
for
you're
explaining that, Dad.
Yes. Thank you for that. So it's, but then here's where it gets preachy. It says, irrespective of where you stand on the Heard versus Depp trial, fetishizing abuse is never okay. Fans called out.
Wait, I thought we were super open to everyone's own their individual fetishes.
We are not supposed to kink shame.
Shaming Dominic Fike, whoever that is. By the way, everyone and their mother these days is a freaking Euphoria star. Like, get over yourself.
That had a huge class. Like, we should.
Why are there so many Euphoria stars? I don't even know who you are. Like,
we've forgotten the word star means someone who's extremely breakout successful.
Yeah.
Like, he's a Euphoria
Like, who
actor,
are you?
a Euphoria performer.
Perhaps they should have said Euphoria performer. It says, imagine if she's really an abuser. Imagine what that victim feels. This is insane, said one viewer. That's so insensitive. Fetishizing abuse is so messed up, added another. He is currently dating his Euphoria co-star, so another star, Hunter Schafer. The pair were first.
Who? Again.
Again. So I mean, do you guys? So you're like, yeah, of course he wants Amber Heard to beat him up.
This is what I've been saying,
But
and I'm the bad guy for pointing it out, huh?
You're pointing out that people are weird about Amber Heard?
Well, just that her behavior has been tolerated and excused for so long, even by her own victim or alleged victim, Johnny Depp, because of how she looks. Like,
yeah.
It's not like there's anything special about Amber Heard in her, like, inside that makes her capable of doing what she does to people. Like, it's just because she knows she's beautiful. She's beautiful. She knows she is beautiful, and she uses it to manipulate people.
Which is a tale as old as time.
There you go. Like, and if you're crazy, you're gonna have that like natural like temptation to manipulate on turbo mode.
Do we think that this guy's just trying to be like subversive and get attention, or like do we think that he's actually like so lame that he's
what does this have to do with the music you're playing? Also?
Yes. Also, like, why are you fantasizing about Amber Heard beating you up? Like, that's so
yeah,
stupid.
Fantasize about somebody else beating you up.
Did he
dude.
think
Come
everyone
on.
was gonna like start cheering?
Is this supposed to be like one of these things where it's like cool to be slightly like emasculine in modern era that I just don't get?
Yes.
Where are the men from Top Gun? That's what I'm asking.
That's what we're talking about. The men who had to work out for like 6 months so they could film their beach volleyball scene that wasn't beach volleyball.
I love that it's still beach volleyball to you. You're like, I don't care what sport.
They actually
it's
gave
Top Gun. They played volleyball
They actually gave a name to the sport, but I don't remember what it was.
because it's volleyball.
It was football. Yeah, whatever. It was beach volleyball. We'll just call it that.
Beach volleyball players everywhere are flinching.
So, in more bad news for the lawyer who just can't catch a break, Amber Heard's lawyer interrupted by Amber Alert during closing arguments.
Yeah.
Also, like, if there was
We
ever a
literally
time
got the tornado warning.
It's
today.
incredible. It's incredible. So it says her lawyer was interrupted by an apparent Amber Alert as he made closing arguments during the blockbuster defamation trial between the actress and her ex-husband. Is that Rotterborn? Yeah, that's is it Rottenborn? It's even worse. I would have changed it to Rotterborn just to make it slightly less awful sounding. Was summing up his client's case Friday morning when several cell phones began sounding the alert, causing a commotion in the courtroom. I literally am picturing them all going back to their office and just slumping over and crying because they just can't catch a break with this.
Well, and then Amber Heard's gonna sue them all and be like,
"It's a
you
bad
guys
omen.
Didn't believe in me, and therefore it's your fault."
And Elon Musk is gonna pay my legal fees.
Come
to
on,
sue you
Elon
guys.
Musk, wake up! You can do better than this.
He can absolutely do better than this. So, what? Do you guys have any predictions? I am not one who I cannot bet. I cannot place money on it. But where do people, whether in the chat or where do you guys think this goes? Do you think he wins? And like you said before, what is winning
in this
really?
game?
Yeah, it was never going to be, he gets $50 million in damages. We already knew that. So
what do you think happens?
I think he probably will get some money in damages. I
Some.
suspect. I don't know that he'll get the full 50. I don't think she gets anything.
no.
at all. There's
Interesting.
no way she's getting $100 million in this countersuit team.
So you think he will get some type of that, like they'll settle out of court before a verdict comes down?
No, I think that the judge will rule that like she owes him money.
Okay.
I think so. I think the case has been strong enough. I didn't follow it as intensely as I followed some other bigger cases this year, but you know, he was, I think, pretty able to prove that like there was real money lost from the brand deals and the movies and things.
Yeah.
Whereas like she tried to use the same argument and it was like, well, actually you got cut from Aquaman because you're awkward on set with everyone else.
They talk about Rottenborn came out swinging in his closing arguments with a powerful sentiment, namely asking the jury to think about what Johnny and his team are suggesting with their premise. If you don't document abuse, it didn't happen. That's an interesting
I think
argument.
they're leaning so heavily on this domestic violence, like, but they, as far as I know, like there's no criminal case against Johnny Depp for abuse. Like,
People are forgetting what they're actually arguing about.
Exactly.
Amber Heard's team has a couple of angles. It's either that she did not say anything about Johnny Depp in the op-ed or insinuate anything about him in the op-ed, or that she did insinuate things about him in the op-ed and they were true.
well,
Those are the angles you've got.
And like, we have to remember that defamation is a legal standard, so it means that you're making, you're knowingly making false statements to hurt someone, either hurt their reputation, and usually that's for financial loss. And like, I think that like it's almost impossible to not believe that like, although they probably had a toxic and very volatile relationship, Johnny Depp does not appear to have, there's no solid evidence that he committed any true domestic violence against her, and he did prove that he lost money as a result of this op-ed, which she published knowing that. So like, it's just very hard for me to think that like, again, I wouldn't call it a win, but I think that like there is likely to be some compensation in his favor. I don't think that the case isn't going to get thrown out. There is going to be a ruling. You know, I don't see her benefiting from any of this in any way. I think the world will lose their mind if somehow he gets nothing and she gets something.
I think he wins either
Riots.
way. I think
Maybe. Or just like, it will seem very strange because there have been a lot of like domestic violence advocates who have been like, we thought we sided with Amber Heard, but actually we do not because of the audio clips that we've heard, which is irrefutable evidence.
I brought those up to the Amber Heard.
the members of the Heard.
The Heard heads. the Heard members.
Oh, by the way, people, tomorrow there will be an episode of Cast Castle, the vlog going up, in which my lovely co-host goes and talks with the people at the courthouse, right?
Yes. I did not expect to come across Amber Heard supporters, like anyone almost.
What did they say?
I even brought up the clips, like, what do you make of the clip where she says no one is going to believe him if he comes out as a survivor of domestic abuse? And then
My favorite on the ground reporter.
it's just like complete, like, they weasel their way out of it. It's just,
What are their justifications for supporting? Should we just wait and save for the video?
Guys, you'll have to check out the vlog tomorrow.
it was a very convoluted explanation that this one person went into.
mental gymnastics.
And I respect that they're willing to like be in the minority on this and speak their minds freely, whatever. It's just very far-fetched.
So it says,
they even predicted that they think like she will win, which is insane to me.
I don't. I think that even if he was to lose, he wins either way because he's got so much public support that he's going to start getting. The money he'll get making movies again will outweigh what he'll make in this trial, anyways.
Yeah.
With his name now, like if Kevin Spacey can still be making movies, then somebody can hire Johnny Depp to do like a Pirates of the Caribbean knockoff just to screw Disney.
Or like he could be the face of whatever came. I think Dior was the only brand that he was the face of that stuck by him. Like
the Heard turrets. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So it says it said he also it said Rottenborn went on to list the other implications he believes JD is outlining, including if you did tell people it's a lie, you did document injuries, they're fake. If you tried to help your spouse, you were actually sabotaging them. Rottenborn says that they're dangerous ideas that try to cement with a verdict. That they are dangerous ideas that are trying to cement with a verdict, and that they have a broader negative impact on domestic violence victims. But the broader implications aren't the point of this case, right? So they keep trying to make it about like what it could mean for everyone else.
But that's to distract the jury. It's to like make them feel like if you don't at least sympathize as somewhat and reflect that in your ruling with Amber Heard, then you are putting other people at risk, which is like not true. All you have to do is say, did Johnny Depp lose money? Did she knowingly make false statements with the intention of hurting his reputation? Which is, to me, yes, but...
And this is the other one I wanted to point out. It says, it's interesting to point out, as many of you know, domestic violence doesn't have to be beatings. It certainly can take shape in other ways, including emotional, verbal, that's kind of what Rottenborn is saying here. She might not have the smoking gun documented, but what she does have on tape still supports her claims of abuse and backs up her account as a victim. They're referring to the cabinet incident where like he like him breaking the cabinet, where we talked about the other day, where the TMZ reporter, and then she recorded it herself, and like he's like she's on tape going like like after
Also, like that's not proof of anything.
No, it is not.
That's just proof of him being
bad
like,
with furniture.
Well, of him being upset, like
displaced anger.
Okay.
So, and that's funny because I've seen this example in television shows all the time, where you'll see show like where like a door has a punched in hole, and that's supposed to be like a visual cue for a bad marriage, right? Where it's like they didn't fix it, or they put like a painting over it, or like a piece of art over it.
If he threw a punch at her and she ducked, then that's a sign of a bad marriage.
Yeah,
well,
it's very different.
But that's not what happened here.
Also,
so.
like, you know, little kids slam their doors when they go up to their rooms. Like, this is something that people do. I'm not saying that, like, it can't appear aggressive in some certain situations, but, like, I just think that, like, to be like, yes, here is one example, while we have, like, 50 on the other side of very clear verbal and emotional manipulation, like, okay, yeah, there's all kinds of domestic, like, to be like, there's, you know, abuse can appear in a lot of ways. Please ignore the ways my client presented abuse. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like they're struggling. I really don't think, I feel bad for this defense team, because it just seems like she has never been a very helpful client. No,
she's been kind of the opposite of helpful as far as this case goes. You guys will have to, by the time our episode airs Monday, the verdict will have, I mean, I'm assuming they're going to get the verdict today, right? They were in closing arguments, or they're
It depends on jury deliberation, right?
So if the verdict does come down today, we'll talk about it on Monday, and kind of then we'll close out what this case is.
Well, at least over the weekend, it should be.
Well,
they don't make
it should be enough time for them to think it over, you know.
You would hope that they come to their conclusion by Monday or so. So we'll hopefully have that discussion on Monday and see what that happens. There were super chats though. There were some.
Yes. Pablo Martinez says, "How about we talk music? Depeche Mode's longtime founder passed away."
That made me so sad.
I don't really like Depeche Mode. Sorry.
Oh, I have a very fond memories of a lot of Depeche Mode. One thing's really interesting in the song "Precious" from 2005. It's like one of the only songs they've ever made where they actually have described what it means, and they usually, like, Gore does not usually give descriptions to like what those songs mean. But I have like very vivid memories of listening to that song like when I was going through rehab, so I have like a strong connection to a lot of Depeche Mode, and I guess I don't really like. It's always hard to do the when people pass away, right? Because then like you wanna like eulogize and talk about a lot of their stuff. But if not everybody there is a big fan of their work or something like that, that can be harder to do. But I do recommend going and listening to Depeche Mode when this episode is over.
1,000 Foot Deep End has an idea for a meme, a meme, if you will.
Oh, a meme.
Johnny Depp's the one guy that could have used an Amber Alert, but
was that insensitive? I don't know if that's considered insensitive. Are we being insensitive? Like,
well, if it is, deal with it. Also, somebody said, "Mary, calm down, girl." No,
absolutely.
I don't even know what that's referencing, but no.
But Mary refuses to calm down. Mary refuses to calm down. All right, so we are going to go on to Podluck, and I do want to talk about this one first, and this is slightly serious, but there's some interesting questions to be, or some interesting statements to be made about this. Candace Cameron Bure cries on Instagram after being silent on the Texas shootings, and the reason I want to talk about this is the notion of compelled speech for public figures when something like this happens, right? So it says the Full House alum explained that she needed time to feel this first before posting, and emphasized that a lack of posting is not a representation of what someone is thinking, feeling, or doing. This has happened a lot in the last 5 years, right? Where if you don't say or
Might
make
I
it,
remind you of the black square?
Oh my
trend?
gosh, never forget.
that was the worst out of all of it, right?
Yeah.
It was like, if you don't post this, remember, silence is violence, but also
Then it came back around, and they were like, "Actually, it's offensive to post the squares." Just like,
Well, you weren't supposed
who
to
is
use the
even paying attention?
hashtag because you were supposed to leave that open for resource.
Right.
Like, it just didn't make any sense.
So is this one of those things where you kind of agree that it's not something you should ever feel compelled to do? Because I hate sharing my opinions on hot button issues, because like whatever I think or feel, I don't expect everyone to think or feel the same way about me as I do. But I also don't want to argue with people
Also, like,
about
the
it.
world doesn't always need your opinion. Like, it's funny to say that on this
Right.
podcast where we're like, let's do a talk for an hour, however long we talk for. But like, you know, this shooting was a real tragedy for a relatively small town in Texas. I mean, it's like 16,000 people in the city, but like, I don't need to tell other people that this is sad. It's obviously sad. And if you think otherwise, like, you're crazy.
Yep.
I don't think I needed Candace Cameron Bure to like come on and be like.
Is it Bure? Is it Bure?
I think it's Bure.
Okay.
That's always how I've heard it, but I could be crazy. I've seen it also with an accent on some cases.
Okay.
But, I don't need her to tell me that she is grieving, because I assume, like, I don't care. Like, it's not that I don't care, but she's not the point, right? I would rather hear about what's actually happening and the people who are really affected by it than hearing like
I can't imagine like
forced
seeing
statement.
breaking news of a tragedy and be like, "Oh, but what does this actor have to say
Yeah.
about
yeah,
it?"
that doesn't
Like,
make-
why is that your first question?
Because they're-
initially, like, I thought you were gonna be like, she's from that town, like, are you
No.
from, or even from Texas?
And then this other one says, she also acknowledged people had criticized her for not sharing a statement on the racially motivated Buffalo supermarket shooting on May 14th.
why would she though?
Like, why?
Why was she
What?
the authority on this? This
Who
doesn't
was
make any sense.
criticizing her
If
for
you
that?
are going to Candace Cameron Bure's Instagram, where she's like a hallmarky Christian actor, like, and getting
Thank
like
you.
You're like
you need to
fuming
comment.
over her.
Also, could you comment on the possible Russian oil embargo? the
Comment
EU
on
is
9/11
considering?
too
Could
while
you
you're at it.
also
Like-
comment on the monkey? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
It's because they. It's first of all, it's because she's the Hallmark. She was the Hallmark queen, right? In the Hallmark movie.
It's
queen.
because she's an open,
Conservative.
conservative white Christian that people want her to be like very negative about.
She
like, or
needs
very
to,
openly.
They need her comments on it, because by not saying anything, that's just reaffirming what they believe they already know about her, which is hilarious, presumptuous, and of course a sign of the times that we
I'm
live
gonna
in.
use people dying as an excuse to get my dunks on you.
Yep, that's
like,
that's the
okay.
world we
so
live in right now.
strange.
So it says she's the latest celebrity to come out and discuss Texas tragedy in which 18 blah,
Thank
blah, blah.
goodness that the celebrities are commenting.
Like that's
I was
what we
worried
need.
they wouldn't.
Yeah, you should. There's something to be said about just not having you can have an opinion, but you don't need to share everything you believe. That's
Also,
that's
like,
fine.
I don't need these random celebrities to comment on this. Like, I really just don't. Nothing about anything they say will change anything that's happened.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Ooh, this is a
But
exciting
for
time
some
people.
people, sadly, like, it does change the way they feel about what happened.
Yep.
If you see someone's, like, if you worship a celebrity
And
you
they
see
disagree
that
with you.
yeah,
If you
or if
worship
they
a celebrity, there are other problems in your life.
We are
Yeah.
getting close, by the way, to a crisis party, which we I don't
What
know. I
is
don't know if we're gonna. Yeah,
Hannah
Hannah
Claire
Claire.
deserves this.
Hannah Claire does not know what that is, but we are getting very close. I don't know if that's actually going to happen today, but
What is-
we did get to
Is this
experience.
just one of these things I have to go through?
You'll have to experience
Yeah.
it someday when we actually make
Not
the
today?
bar. I don't know. I don't know if anybody's gonna if anyone's gonna commit and
If
donate
only
to
we
make that go
had a
through.
crisis party.
Yeah, Hannah Claire. Well, she looks
Maybe
scared
not
right
though.
now.
Like, don't feel obligated because I don't know.
She's like looking around for like what's gonna
You're
attack
looking
her
for the booby
if,
traps.
if this
Oh,
happens. Like
man.
like a cellar door opens and she just falls into the building.
Cartoonishly,
Like
yeah.
like,
Or an anvil drops on her head.
it's Wile E.
Flattens her
Coyote.
to the ground.
It's Wile E.
I
Coyote
have to
all
walk
over
through the
again.
studio so carefully already because of the wires and everything that I like don't trust that I would have noticed if like something was like MacGyvered together.
It could
above
happen.
me.
We do have like stuff on the ceiling. It's
Stop.
Hannah Claire always looks very terrified walking into the studio. That's just the way it is.
One
So-
time, a long time ago, Brett was like, "Hey, will you come on Pop Culture Crisis? Like, it'd be fun to have your perspective." And I was like, "Yeah, Brett, you're my friend. I want to see you succeed." And now I get threatened to be put in a dunk tank. Like,
Is that what? Oh yeah, there was the dunk.
That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
going on for a while. Every time I'd come on, they'd be like, "Put dunk tank."
They were requesting it.
I like want to participate, but maybe not like that.
Now I kind of want a dunk tank just to make it like a reality.
I mean, that's
You have a-
definitely a good vlog idea.
That
too.
is, yeah. It can be a vlog of Nick filming us putting
Yeah.
her in a dunk tank.
Why?
for
You
the-
have to catch me
Only
first.
Hannah Claire though.
Oh, yeah,
well,
No
yeah.
one
I know.
else
What
goes
is
in the dunk
this?
tank.
It's only Hannah Claire. For only people will have to let us know in the comments if they actually want to.
Anyways, Candace Cameron Bure, like I think her sentence of like you not posting on something doesn't mean that you are not empathizing or learning about or feeling sad or reacting to in some way something that's going on. But I think it's weird that we have made it like this standard in culture that if you don't put out a statement condoning something, even when you are a random, like she's a well-known celebrity, but like she is not she has nothing to do with this. So why she would have to like publicly be like, I am against children dying at school. Like,
Wow.
oh my gosh, groundbreaking.
Slow clap, everyone.
And if you hadn't have said it, I would have thought that you had been for it.
Yeah.
Like, why would you assume that?
Thank
Hello.
you.
That one landed on my mouse.
We are
Hooray.
almost there, guys. We are getting very close. So that's
I'm terrified.
te-
I want to know how
Bryce's party.
close.
Bryce's party.
that well, it might happen. It may happen today. Maybe I'll donate to the show.
No,
and
you're
make
gonna do it.
We're
Just
just gonna get through these last
I
two
will
topics real slowly.
but if we don't get to it, no worries, because
Because she's terrified. It's like you don't have like what is it like what they always do for light shows where you have to like if you have
Do I need a helmet for this?
you might need a helmet. We
The
might
thing
have to
is, you both look so like secretly happy.
Thank
It's
you.
literally not a big deal. Like
Happening.
you don't need to freak out.
No, Mary, you just said you wouldn't calm down, and now you're telling me to calm down.
All right, I want to talk a little bit about this article about Avengers Endgame. Joe Russo gets honest about Marvel's disturbing treatment of Scarlett Johansson after the Black Widow fallout.
Disturbing.
What fallout happened after Black Widow?
Okay, so this is what happened from the
Disturbing.
best of my memory. So they released Black Widow. Thank
Thanks.
you. They released Black Widow day and
That one just
date
caught me off guard.
day and date release for Disney Plus. So it came out both in theaters and on Disney Plus, right? You had to pay, it was like pay VOD, like $30 to buy it. Otherwise, you had to go to a theater to see it. It did well in the first week, but then the amount it made fell off a cliff because basically people could just watch it at home, and they waited too long to make this movie. Objectively, this should have been made well before the character had art. There it is.
There's
We got it.
this party.
Anna Claire looks very happy.
this.
And we thank you.
Oh.
That's so we're going to
You're so dazzled
My-
right now.
Gosh.
my new goal.
Every time I come on here, it gets better and better.
It is like it's slowly becoming a more convoluted and thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe I shouldn't fight the dunk tank. Like, if this is cool.
There you go. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Woo! Oh my god! Oh, wow. Oh, wow. This table is intense. I'm going to take a quick video of it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Were you talking about something?
Yes.
'Cause I'm
Black
like,
Widow.
I don't know if we're supposed to actually like how much we're supposed to acknowledge this stuff as it happens, but
all
it's
the
for you.
time.
It is for you
Look at
guys.
the floor.
Thank
oh, my
you. Yes.
Lord.
So basically, she didn't end up getting like a lot of back end money for this movie because it didn't make like their profit, like their percentages are based on how much the movie made, and it became a whole kerfuffle
How
about.
much did it make? Did it make a crisis party word?
It made maybe a little bit of a
2.5
crisis party.
crisis
Maybe like
party?
thousands of crisis parties.
So he talks. He says the studios are having a conservative reaction, and they're trying to downplay their need for stars. They're trying to force IP to be the star, and in accordance with that, they're also then trying to underpay and diminish the need for stars on their projects. That was really not an appropriate way for them to handle the situation. It was disturbing for us as artists. Scarlett is a good friend of ours, and we were disheartened by how it was handled. We're glad it was resolved. She sued Disney after all of
remember
this
that,
happened, and they settled with her out of court. And what I mean, my main point here is just that whether.
Oh, it didn't work.
Oh.
Thank you.
Now we're fighting.
Excited for you. Hooray. That's the win.
I had a money fight at work. So this is one of the things you do need celebrities in Hollywood. You like a lot of people say that you do not need. No, I'm saying for movies, you do need celebrities in movies.
You need celebrities in Hollywood. This is like a weird, like, workers' rights campaign for them. Stop saying you don't like us. You need us.
Name recognition sells
Hollywood
movies.
would just be
still.
a weird valley without us.
You do
Sorry.
still need name recognition in movies. It does go a long way in making these things work. Tom Cruise sells you Top Gun. Chris Hemsworth sells Chris Hemsworth sells you the movies he's in. A lot of times right now, it's like I'm too distracted by Crisis Party to actually like formulate my thoughts.
It's over.
I'm working on it here. So the idea is basically like
It's not over till Brett says it's over. He
Wait.
is the Tom Cruise of pop culture crisis, and he will say,
we're about the same height, so that's perfect. Like you do like they want to make it
"Are
so
you really
that
the same height as Tom Cruise?" I'm
Yes.
sorry.
I'm like trying here, guys.
Me too.
You do need these celebrities to sell these movies. Don't make that face at me. Okay,
You
so
need the celebrity.
I give up. I give up.
Are we being too childish now?
No, Mary, we need the celebrities.
God,
You need wheels on the truck to go round and round.
I give up. I quit. I quit.
A movie without
I'm done.
celebrities
I am
is
done.
just a home video.
There is far too much stuff being made today that there aren't enough actors with name recognition to sell the properties.
We
is
do
what
need
I'm
more
saying.
famous actors.
You do need more people with name recognition and value to sell these properties if they intend to make money off
How
of
many people with name recognition do you think we need per project?
it. At least two.
At least two.
At least two.
Probably four, to be fair. We need celebrities in Hollywood.
I don't appreciate the snark and the sarcasm.
Are you saying we don't?
What?
We
Well,
don't need
I'm
them?
just saying they're underappreciated. Everyone says, "Oh, celebrities always trying to offer their opinion." Well, you need them. You need.
Well, you need them for their job.
You're like dying right now.
I give up. I give up. We are done. I am cutting this all short.
I have a new game where I'm gonna play to be not serious enough until Brett is like, "We're done."
I give it up. We're doing one more topic today. It says
he
Batman flees
he
in.
says he gives up, but he doesn't. Ladies
Batman-
and gentlemen, Brett Dasovic.
Batman flees Antifa, Antifa-style riots in new comic. These places all have insurance. Not my job to protect their profit margins.
This is such a crazy sentiment.
I have a rule usually. I don't like to like comment on comics that I haven't actually read, and I have not read this one, but it's too good to pass up to finish up the show today. So basically, Batman like lets a bunch of people burn down stores because they have insurance. Which, of course, if you know how insurance works during riots, you know that you're not actually going to get that money back for stuff like that. Most of the people during the summer of
And I
2020.
just want to point out, no rioters looked at a building and were like, "They have insurance. It's cool." Like, they don't care. They're
No.
not even thinking about that at all.
Yeah.
In
So-
fact, they hope you don't have insurance because they want you to suffer.
I think they even like killed business owners.
Well,
definitely kicked some
I
in the
heard
head
of
in
at
Dallas.
least one.
David Dorn passed away defending a pawn shop that his friend owned, right? So it says, Batman rationalized that he shouldn't put a stop to the rioters because there are more than likely bigger fish to catch in Gotham, despite having no knowledge of where these big fish might be, given the power and communication blackouts at the time. The writer, so he writes, Batman's interior monologue says,
Riots, which endanger hundreds, if not thousands of people's lives, are not important to Batman.
yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
So it's, and I read that super chat. When you read that one later, you're going to have to say it with an apologetic voice.
Okay.
So it says, haven't seen a night like this in a while. Last time it was this bad was the damn fear gas in the water supply. Only so much I can do. Need to prioritize. Hunt the big fish. Protect the little fish. What about the people working at the stores?
The little fish who are suffering because of the
Yes.
riots. I can't. That's not that he is like the U.S. government.
Here he says-
we can't interfere with that kind of stuff.
These places all have insurance, not my job to protect their profit margins. In my father's day, the American dream used to mean something, an honest wage for honest work, food on the table, liberty and justice for all. Now it's an illusion, a carrot on a stick, attainable by a few, dangled just out of reach for everyone else.
What a weird bait and
This is
switch
trying
here,
way
team.
too hard
You
to be
guys
deep.
have insurance, and therefore people who make money are bad. So we should riot and destroy their buildings. This is like what? Does anyone take this seriously?
I lived in a part of town where riots happened, and you didn't get those stores back. Okay, like that. Once those stores close, a lot of times they see the area as too much of a financial risk, so you lose the ability. If you're somebody who doesn't drive, you lose the ability to get groceries close to your house. If you work there, you're out of a job.
That doesn't matter to Batman. He has
No,
to
it
catch
does
the
not.
big fish.
It's like, this is why nobody wants movies adapted from modern comics, because modern comics are trash. A bigger TV, a faster car, shiny objects to keep the masses distracted. That's the fault of the idiot buying the bigger TV and the shiny car. That's not the fault.
Also,
of the
like, if
people
you can
making the
buy
product.
a big TV, that doesn't mean you deserve to have your business destroyed because of a riot that Batman could apparently deal with and chooses not to.
Keep the world distracted. Keep the masses distracted while the world burns. You want to blame them for grabbing the carrot when the lights go out. Go ahead, but don't look at me to stop them. That's not why I do
So
this.
he's cool with looting.
Yeah, he's cool with he's cool with looting.
This is garbage. Why are we reading this?
Also, there's something to be said that the person who actually killed Bruce Wayne's family was a person who was down on his luck, so he should actually worry about people like that. But hey, what?
No, you have to inject him with the values of our day.
This Batman is probably like, well, he probably had a hard day. I forgive him for that.
So that was there's a
Really,
longer
my
story.
parents shouldn't have been wealthy because then they wouldn't have been targeted. This is their
Evil
fault.
thing.
Yep. Actually, there was an interesting comment at the bottom where somebody talks about how like the idea, the concept of the American dream has been like changed as to what it was actually supposed to mean. It was never codified by the government or anything like that. But yes, let's because I've lost control of this podcast today. Let's finish up with the super
am
chats,
my one
Mary.
person riot distracting Brett from his job.
Yes.
Maybe that's my call name. Maybe I'm Riot.
One person riot?
We'll just call you Riot.
Just riot?
Yeah.
Riot.
That's a good one.
All right, super chats.
Before we get into super chats, Waffle Sensei said, "You said you wanted Amber Heard to beat you up because it's hot, girl. Calm down." Do you really think that was me saying that and I wasn't quoting
like
Dominic Fike? You're trying to troll me and it's not working.
Yeah, I feel like Waffle Sensei's not
Anyways.
listening today.
Newt says, "Thanks for helping me zone out at work for the last few hours of every day. You're welcome."
Oh my gosh, so cool. We have work listeners. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Listen to us. Don't do your job.
Caper2X says, release the Mary. Let God sort them out.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't either.
I don't know what that means.
Doesn't sound unreasonable though, you know?
Yeah, 1,000 Foot Deep End says, "I'd actually seen the Amber Alert meme a few weeks ago, but on a more important note, we need another PCC party. Come on, Crisis Actors." Well, thank you. You accomplished that.
Thank you, Crisis Actors, that you helped us accomplish that, and then it threw the show off the rails, and it's a beautiful thing.
If you guys do it earlier, it'll be a more chaotic show next time. At
It's
least when
just-
I'm on.
It will just be me being having even more trouble reading and umming and ahhing even more than I
It
already
breaks my
do.
attention and I just can't get through the remaining hour of our show.
That's what will happen.
Newt contributed $10 for the party. Thank you.
Thank you,
That's
Newt.
awesome. Thank you so much. I actually had never seen it before, so I was psyched to see it live.
Yeah.
I want because it blinks like red and blue. I want somebody to remix Bad Boys and put that in the background.
Yeah. Nathan Koss says, "Dunk tank filled with noodles and company noodles." It's getting better and better.
I'm okay. Maybe we're starting to talk. We're bringing some ideas to the negotiating table, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Caper2X says, "Bombs away." I think that might have been what
That was,
sent
I think,
it over.
Yep,
That's
sent us
cool.
over the effort. Thank you guys so much for all that. And there's one more there, Mary. Read that one, please.
Waffle Sensei says, "Here's some beer money for Brett so he can cope with the overwhelming girl power in this room. I got you, bro."
Joke's on you, because Brett doesn't.
We're not
Thank you.
sorry.
Say that again. You're
We
of
are
course,
not sorry.
not even fair. Unfortunately, I am sober, but I can I'll go get like food or something.
Or like
at
a-
the
Get a
gas
nice
station.
like
some
pizza.
Tylenol,
Yeah.
cure your headache.
Get some ice cream to drown your sorrows.
some earplugs. Some blinders, so the next time we're doing the show, you don't have to look at either one of us.
That's just like and I'll just muzzle Hannah Claire next time and
That would be a weird show. You invite me on, and then I'm not allowed
You
to
need
talk.
to get like the little like thing they put around the
Yeah.
shepherd has like the thing he puts around a sheep.
yeah the
What is that?
oh I don't know. I was thinking like what
You
is
know,
No,
what is the
you hook the person on
crook?
stage with it.
you want him to have a
Then
shepherd's
just-
crook so he can pull.
Just yank you off.
Might I
off
remind
the
you,
frame.
you guys invited me to be here.
I was just say that
No,
that would be
I
very
love
rude.
it. He's the one with the problem.
No, I love it. I'm having the time of my life in a completely exasperated and out of it sort of way. I'm having the time of my life today. Thank you so much.
No, it's been great.
Actually, that seems like a good place to wrap things
This
up.
plus pouring
Brett's like,
popcorn
let's
on
get out of
you.
here. Oh my gosh, when we were in the movie, I'll tell you guys this story. Thank you guys for sticking around. As a benefit, you get to hear an anecdote from
Yes.
me. So we went to the movies last night, and we were sitting, Brett, Mary, me, and I was having a really hard time getting through the various Tom Cruise trailers, and Brett I had a bag of popcorn, and I had passed it to Mary to pass to Brett, and she is watching the screen and dumps it all over
Okay,
Brett.
I didn't dump it. I was merely gesturing.
I can't even tell what happened. It's
to
like you
hand it-
stuttered. It was
Yeah, I stuttered with my body. I was like,
you had a
do you
physical
want to try
stutter.
some? But with like my gesture, I was like,
It was a little too
Like-
excited, and Brett looks. Mary is laughing hysterically,
short-circuited.
and it's like the best like description of these two I could ever give you. Mary is laughing hysterically, and Brett looks at her, super stoic, popcorn all over the cardigan, picks one off, eats it, and shakes his head. Like, what do I put up with to go to the movies?
Well, there's also like this group of like old people behind us who stole our seats for some reason in like an empty theater.
Because they saw the original Top Gun when it came out in the theaters.
deserve
They get to
that.
pick where they're sitting.
Fine, but and then like Mary's laughing maniacally at my misfortune. By the way, I'm sending you my dry cleaning bill. You're going to be covering that. I don't actually dry
Brett
clean.
is so fancy.
But
the fanciest host.
Mary is laughing maniacally, and all I'm thinking about these poor people behind us.
and
who are just like-
apologizing. Okay,
Yes.
I wasn't just like, I love seeing you suffer, Brett.
She was kind of like that. There might have
But it
been
was
an
funny.
apology in there somewhere, but I might have missed it.
Wow.
It's hard to hear over all the laughing the rest of us were doing.
Oh, God. Hannah Claire, just tell everybody where they can find you on social media. We're never going to get out of here.
Are you telling me to get out of here? I'm Hannah Claire. You can find me at I'm messing it up today. See how off I am?
It's
Normally
a
I can do this
Friday.
like a rhythm.
It's a
Okay.
casual Friday.
Ready? You can find me on Instagram at hannahclaire.b. You can find me on Gab at hannahclaireb. You can find me on Twitter at hcbrimlow. And you can find me, of course, on timcast.com. Click on the read tab.
I'm actually not kicking you out. I'm trying to be respectful of your time.
Yeah, I do have to go to my other job now.
Yes. All right. Mary, tell everyone where they can find you when you're not spilling popcorn on people.
You can find me on Instagram and WeChat at Closer Kitty. And whenever I post articles on timcast.com, I promote them on there.
Perfect. Guys, you can follow me on Instagram at Brett Dasovic. I post skating on there, and I post my takes on movies and everything in the story. It's a lot more positive than I am on here, I assure you. For the show, remember, Monday through Friday, right here, 3 p.m. on YouTube. We are also on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify. If you'd prefer to listen to us, I don't know why you wouldn't want to watch Hannah Claire react to ridiculous crisis parties
Yes.
as they happen, but you can listen to us there if you so desire.
And there'll be more and more stuff, right?
Yes, every stuff will just keep getting added. We are also on social media. We are on Twitter at popculture_show, Instagram at popculturecrisispod, and on Facebook and TikTok. You will make Dane very happy if you follow us there. That's at popculturecrisis. We will be back with another episode on Monday. We'll see you then, guys. Bye.
Bye.